So my greed for money was so high. I started this when I was 8 months pregnant.
I personally learned a lot. I think it's a true rags to riches story. CXOs in most companies is mostly men.
I would blame the women for not taking crazy actions as they were.
What is your personal net worth looking like today?
Crores.
Bling bag. Can you walk us through that journey?
The first year we made about 4 lakhs. That was nothing.
This year?
So this year we'll close at 8 crores.
8 crores is not enough. And then you decided to start 2 other businesses.
Now I have a game plan.
Let's talk about how it all began. Hey guys, on today's episode we have Harvi Shah, who is also a member of the 1% Club, and she is also a self-made millionaire. Harvi, can you tell us a little bit about your current situation? Like, let's talk about all the different sources of income that you have, all the things that you're currently doing.
So I run 3 businesses, Sharan. First one is Bling Bag, which is my online fashion jewelry store. I started this in 2015 when I was 8 months pregnant.
Okay.
And in COVID, I started 2 more businesses. One is coaching women and helping them start their own online e-commerce brands. And I also have a digital marketing agency wherein I help fashion brands scale their products digitally.
What is your personal net worth looking like today?
3 to 4 crores.
Got it. So let's talk about how it all began.
So I come from a very humble background, born and brought up in Ahmedabad. And I clearly remember every day in the house was a fight between my mom and dad on money matters.
Okay.
My dad was a failed entrepreneur, could never get a stable job. And there was a point wherein he had to start doing odd jobs on a daily basis. So I've seen money come home on a daily basis. And there were days when no money would come in because of no work. And I very clearly remember my mom one day sitting in the kitchen crying because there was no oil in the house to cook food. So those were the days. I was about 10, 12-year-old and pretty matured to understand that the situation of the house financially is not to have
good.
even 2 basic meals. And I said, I will never become like my parents. And I will do something which will earn me a lot of money. And the only thing that I knew at that time was to become an engineer, get an IT job, go earn in dollars and pounds.
Okay.
And there was no money in the house to pay my engineering fees. It was 1.6 lakhs back in the year 2001 for 4 years of engineering.
Okay.
And my mom said, no, take a BCom, BSc, stay in Ahmedabad. Why do you have to go out of Ahmedabad and become an engineer? But my dad stood by myself. He said, I will make her do everything that I could not. And I was raised like a son. And he fought with my mom saying, sell your jewelry and let's make her an engineer.
So you did engineering, and then after that you went into a job immediately?
Yeah, I went into a job. I got campus placed with Wipro.
Okay. That was your first salary?
17,000 rupees first salary.
Okay, and how did you feel that time?
That was amazing. I was in Hyderabad at that time. And when I went back home, I got some pearl jewelry for my mom and, all of those celebrations. So that was in 2005.
Okay.
2 years I was there in Wipro. And I also understood in that time that coding can't take you out of India.
What was your role?
So I was more into testing of the app that they were making.
Okay.
And I understood if you are a business analyst, you get to work from the client location because then you're taking requirements of the client and bringing it back to India for your offshore team. And how do you get that? You have to do your MBA.
You gave the cat?
I gave CAT. I failed miserably. I don't
Do you
even
know
want
the
to share. 70, 72 odd percentile. And I knew I'm not that IIT, IIM material at all. I had given one SP Jain, Singapore, Dubai, international MBA entrance test and I got selected.
But it would be more expensive.
14.5 lakhs was
You
the
needed.
fees
Okay.
back in 2007.
Did you have that much
Again,
savings?
we didn't have that money. So a very close aunt came to rescue. 7.5 lakhs is what I took from her. And the other half through his friends, collateral and all of that we managed. And I took 7 lakhs bank loan. And again, I got campus placed. And I got placed with Cognizant. on
Which
day
country?
0 in India. Even if it was in India, it was 10 lakhs per annum.
Okay.
I
And
was
how old were
again-
you at this point of time?
So about 22-year-old, 22,
At 22 years
24,
old.
24.
At 24, you're making 10 lakhs per annum.
Yes. Yeah.
But you still wanted more.
If I have to repay fast, at least to my aunt, I need dollars and pounds. I knew that. That was what I was aiming for. So I didn't lose hope. ठीक है, you have become a business analyst. Now you have to look for an on-site project. So 2008, I started my work. And then in 2009, I got a 3-month opportunity to Singapore. So I picked up that assignment. Fast forward, 3 months turned into 3.5 years in Singapore.
Okay. So how much did it become for you in Singapore?
So in Singapore, I started with 7.5 to 8,000 rupees, 8,000 Singapore dollars
Per
a
month.
month, which was good.
So 3.5 lakhs.
3.5 lakhs. After everything paid for myself as my stay, I used to save 1.5 lakhs every month.
Now, most people, after they are able to reach this level, they sort of, remove the pedal off the gas and they're like chilling.
Absolutely.
Right? Because most of the needs of a person living in India, especially, is taken care of at that kind of a level. But what was your reason to kind of enter entrepreneurship?
So my greed for money was so high that even after marriage, I told my husband, this is great income. See, we'll not get such an opportunity later. So let me continue. In Singapore, we'll have healthy Skype online video call relationship.
So he was in India, you were in Singapore.
Yes.
You were
He was in
Skyping.
Mumbai, Skyping. And
Did it work?
we fought crazy. We really fought a lot. So this went on. And I think in 2014, I told myself, this is never ending. There'll always be that next month where you can make 1 more lakh. And by this time, I had realized that I'm just chasing, a goal which is always moving.
Moving goalpost.
And
What was your goal at that point of time? Like, was there like a money target at that point of time?
I wanted to buy a house.
What was the target?
The worst decision of my life was to buy a home in Thane. So all that 1 lakh that I was saving went into my marriage. The remaining portion, we were building the money for the down payment
Of the house.
of the house. 63 lakh rupee property, paid some down payment. 10,
How big is the
15%.
house for 63 lakhs?
Some
Like 1 BHK?
300 Yeah, 1 BHK. Very small.
1 BHK, 63 lakhs.
Yeah.
Which year
This
was
is back in 2012.
Okay.
Okay, just after marriage.
And then you said it's the worst decision of your life. Can you tell us why?
Yeah, because it never grew in appreciation. We sold recently as in around COVID, we sold it to infuse more money in business.
How much did you sell it for?
We sold it for 66 lakhs.
63 lakhs became 65 lakhs after 8 years.
So motherhood got me to eventually quitting my job and starting something of my own.
Just wanted to ask you, because you talk to a lot of women entrepreneurs, is there like a practice in corporate culture that once a woman, gets into labor or they become pregnant and then sort of their career opportunities reduce because the upper management sort of feels that, the woman will not be, very focused on work anymore. They'll be more focused on their, their kids. And because of that, the number of CXOs or top level management in most companies is mostly men. Do you think that sort of happens?
I don't think so at all, Sharan. I would say I got promoted to senior manager during my maternity leave. I was 30 when I got promoted to a senior manager. There were so many of my colleagues who were senior and they were still at manager level. So I think I would highly, not agree to that there is, that kind of a gender bias
Stigma.
or whatever we keep speaking about. I think the woman stops taking actions or, somewhere she slows down because of the social pressure, family pressure, what's the need to work so hard, now take care of the child. So I think somewhere I would blame the women for not taking crazy actions as they were before the maternity.
But what gave you the confidence to finally put down your papers?
That's what. So the moment I saw recurring or, consistent revenues, which is equal to my salary. My salary back then was 1.5 lakhs after all taxes and so on in hand.
But revenues mean there's like no, like you didn't even look at the profits. Was there profits at that point of time?
Very negligible.
Okay.
But I knew that this can grow once I put 100% of my time.
Yeah.
Because right now I was only doing it part time in
Yeah.
the nights, Saturday, Sunday. What if I start working 7 days a week?
Yeah. Which
No
you should as
Sundays,
an
which
early
you
entrepreneur.
should, yeah. So I knew that this will fly. I got that confidence.
So you are way bolder than me, because when I was starting finance with Sharon, I also did it parallelly with my 9 to 7 job and doing finance with Sharon. Because my eventual goal was to go to the US like you, go for my MBA. I didn't really look at it as a job. So the finance with Sharon, I didn't really look at it as a big potential. Only when it eventually became 10 times my monthly income, then I was like, you know what,
This is
forget
serious.
forget
Yeah.
US, let me stay here. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying, that I was not bold enough to make that decision. I mean, you did it without even looking at profits, just with the revenue matching your salary, you went with it. So then walk me through that journey of your business. Like, let's walk through the numbers now. Like, so Bling Bag, how many years have you been in operation so far?
9 years.
9 years. Tell me year 1, year 2, year 3 revenues, and then when you hit the the break even point.
Right.
Just can you walk us through that journey?
Yes. So I started Bling Bag with a very interesting concept, which was subscriptions. I'll do something wherein I'll send 4 or 5 pieces of surprise jewelry to women based on a style profile that they give me every month. So the first year we made about 4 lakhs. That was nothing.
Okay.
Because I was doing it alongside my job, just testing things out. Second year was about 17 lakhs. That's
Okay.
when I decided that I should quit.
Okay.
Third year was 22 lakhs. And then fourth year was about 45 lakhs.
Okay.
And fifth year was 1.1 crore.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how the growth has been over the years.
And then 6th year?
And sixth year was COVID around that time. So we could still keep the same revenues, about 1.5 crores. And then it has been 3 crores, 5 crores, and it's going up.
This year?
So this year we'll close at 8 crores net.
Wow. 8 crores net revenue. This is.
Net revenues, yeah.
You're telling me all the net revenues. So
All the net revenues, yes. I think one mistake which later I realized, subscription will not grow. So if I now want to continue, I should do a traditional e-commerce store wherein you show the products and people buy. And so this was about 2018.
So what are the learnings that you've had? Like, what made you scale it up, step by step? Any learnings that you can share?
The first was a wrong business model, as we spoke about subscription. So I think what the market needs, give them. And I played with pricing. So there was a lot of jewelry available at 300, 400, 500 price point, the lower quality comparatively. And we started curating jewelry, which was like the sales price for the earrings would be 1200, 1500. So I realized that whatever is the price of your product, you are going to have an audience who will value your product at that price and they will pay you that price. So I stuck to my pricing, which is profitable to me. Instead of looking at how many orders I'm shipping out on a daily basis.
So you did that, and then you decided to start 2 other businesses. 8 crores is not enough.
That's what I'm doing today. But at that time, I knew that now I have a game plan, which is, high profit margin.
You have a cash cow now.
Yeah, now I have a cash cow and I know how to scale this, but I wanted to invest in my learning. I happened to attend an event which was for business growth and happened to see that there's something called business coaching. And I saw how that coaching can help my business at that stage. So I invested in that. But that was like a 9 lakh rupee investment for a 1 year of business coaching.
But 9 lakhs is a big investment for your learning. Like many people would think of spending that kind of money on their engineering degree or for an MBA degree. But for a business coaching course, people usually think, is it going to be worth it? So what gave you that motivation or courage? Did it come from a reference, or like how did you get convinced to pay?
I think the kind of mistakes that I heard the business coach speak, I was making those mistakes. There was so much of relatability that I said, if I get solution to these things, I think I can get into, more profits, more scale. And that's the whole, reason for even starting coaching for my community, because I know that it really helps. Because Sharon, 4 years spent in trial and error. And then you're getting some understanding of how the business should work. And here, if I get that understanding from an experienced person, through his mistakes, I thought I'll be able to scale. And I sold my wedding jewelry to be able to pay for that 9 lakh rupee course.
You believed in it so much.
I believed in it so much because I think that was the only hope. I was not interested in doing this business at the scale at which I was doing. So I said either I go all full in now and make it happen, or I was at a point that I will quit.
Oh,
So if
okay.
I go all in, I'm going all in. I know that.
I think that is the very interesting learning that I'm getting, that the mindset that an entrepreneur needs to have is exactly what you just mentioned, that the ability to sort of take these sort of tough decisions. Like how many people in your friend circle would have taken this decision that you just did, that I'm going to sell my wedding jewelry so that I can take the money to invest in your education to start a business.
And I think this has been the turning point of my entrepreneurship journey, because I realized I didn't know so many things which existed out there, and it was just about me knowing it and doing it the right way. So that implementation is what I was lacking with the right strategies.
So firstly, you mentioned that you were not good at investing. You never really learned about finance and all of that. So has that changed in the recent past? Because now you're almost a millionaire, right? So have you now invested in learning about your money, your finances?
Absolutely. So I'm a big believer of learning. So thank you to One Person Club that I got into that, started seeing your videos, started understanding how to pick up mutual funds, different asset allocation, depending on your long-term, short-term goals. How do you bucket your, money and so on. So I'm there, Sharon.
You actually gone through the whole thing.
I have gone through, and I also wanted to go through this with my son, who is 9-year-old. He loves and enjoys your content. He doesn't understand a lot of those hi-fi terms.
He likes the kya fu kya hai.
Yeah, the reels. But I think it's so important for even this generation to kind of get the financial literacy early on in their life.
Yeah. So what else? How does your remaining asset allocation look like? Like, what is your...
in SIPs we have put up in mutual funds. We are still there to, kind of look at where else we are going to invest. So this is past 3-4 months that we have started looking at our finances in a more matured way.
So tell me this, have you invested in US equity? Have you invested in US equity?
No.
Because it's very important to do that, and a lot of people think it's difficult and they think like, why invest in US equity? But two important reasons. One is that geographic diversification. So what happens is if you put all your money inside India, I mean right now depending on whatever the political situation is in India, the markets can go up and down, right? Now, when something bad happens in India, US is usually unaffected. So having a certain amount of money, like 10 to 15% of your long-term goal ka SIPs can go into the US equity, right? That's number one. Number two is that the dollar appreciates against the rupee. And the last advantage is that you also get access to things which are not there in India. See, what are the top tech companies in India? You have your Infosys and, Cognizant and all of that. But these are like IT services company. We don't have a Google, we don't have a Meta, we don't have, OpenAI. We're not that great in artificial intelligence. We're not that great in, we don't have a Tesla, like that level of companies. So basically, India doesn't have global powerful companies, right? So they are situated in California. So that is why investing in US is very, very important. And here, the mistake that people make is that they will invest in Indian mutual funds investing in US equity. Right? Now, that is the wrong thing to do, because now there is a new rule which says that any mutual fund which is investing less than 65% in India's stock market will be taxed as per your income slab.
Right.
So the right way to do it is to directly pick the stocks of US or ETFs of US, because then you'll be taxed at 20% with indexation benefits. Indexation benefits meaning the benefits of inflation will help you lower your tax outgo. So this is something that you should definitely look at when looking at your financial planning for your overall allocation.
So I think, Sharan, now that we have started making money, so far it was like no money, and money is only for, running the house and so on. I think in the last 2 years, we have really started like understanding business, and the inflows are coming in. So now I think we are like much more ready than ever before to be able to start our investing journey.
Fantastic conversation. I think I personally learned a lot. about your journey. I think it's a true rags to riches story.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for everything that you do for financial literacy in India. Much needed. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
all the efforts that you put.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, guys.
You won't do the so that's it, guys.
Oh, yeah. So, I forgot. So that's it, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.